So I'm sure we've all been playing Minecraft before, and come across one of its many strange and sometimes disturbing mysteries. Like, why are there undead everywhere? Why are there all these abandoned temples and structures? Why are you the only one capable of building? Other than the Enderman, I guess. Where are the rest of the people like you? Where did anything in this world come from? Now, deep underwater were the bodies of hundreds of thousands of dead citizens. And through some dark and mysterious way, perhaps from the secret life experimentations of the wizards, these dead came to life. The drowned were born, the first undead. But these did not bother the villagers and builders, for their ships in the seas had grown so large and so great that the drowned could not sink them. While the builders traveled more down the path of less dangerous advancement, the wizards decided to travel deeper into stranger things. They discovered teleportation. They created the first nether portals and the first ender pearls in secret through very mysterious means. This raised a red flag for the rest of the builders. If the wizards were able to harness the power of space, the power to move anywhere at any time as they please, then what's stopping them from taking over? Up on the surface, for hundreds more years, the builders' and villagers' civilization grew and prospered and advanced. The builders creating ever more elaborate constructions than ever, more powerful weapons and tools. The wizards learning more and more magical knowledge and delving deeper and deeper into magics unknown and unseen, becoming darker and darker and more mysterious and secretive from their builder brothers. Meanwhile, the villagers became experts in intricate craft and helped discover redstone technology with the builders and wizards. Together, they would build the golems that we know in Minecraft today. But back in those days, there weren't just snow golems and iron golems and, well, I guess the Ravager, if you count him as one. No. In fact, in those days, there were hundreds of different types. Just like in the mob votes, there had been the tough golem and the copper golem. There were maybe fire golems, stone golems, all these other kinds. But for some strange reason, the only ones that we, the player, can rebuild are the iron and snow golems. They built these creatures to protect their kingdoms and serve as guards and servants for them. The iron golems were part of their military as heavy units that were brought in whenever things got really tough on the battlefield. And there were some that were part of the workforce, being used to move heavy objects and do things that a normal weak human could not. The invention of the golems was the first real step into the modern world that the builders and villagers made. Soon the wizards would begin to travel and live in the Nether. They would build fortresses to defend against the ghast, and inside they would conduct strange experiments, and they would become obsessed with soul energy and soul sand and anything related to soul magic. This, in turn, led to the creation of the piglins. You see, the wizards needed food and test subjects for their experiments, and so they brought simple pigs through the portals with them. And through many years of living in the Nether, and being warped and twisted by its strange and mysterious plants and fungus, and being tortured and experimented on by the wizards, they became the piglins. and they were enslaved by the wizards, who now had become a dastardly cult of dark sorcerers, who did not realize that the piglins were as intelligent as them. Soon the builders discovered the secret evils of the wizards, and they demanded that they shut down their operations. But the wizards refused. This prompted the builders to begin preparing for an invasion of the Nether, to stop the wizards and free the piglins. But before they could do this, the wizards left. They discovered a new dimension of freedom. The End. Quickly, they all packed up their things and fled, leaving the piglins behind and taking what they could. Behind them, the portal closed in the overworld. The builders could not follow them. Now, with the wizards gone, magic became a part of everyone's everyday life. It was no longer dedicated specifically to the wizards. Now the people could truly and safely advance magic, without the secrecy of the wizards. Now, with the Nether fortresses empty, and the knowledge of how to create portals in their hands, the builders began to explore the Nether, and take over these fortresses as their homes and cities for themselves. And they made peace with the piglins, freeing them and allowing them to create their own civilization to advance. Meanwhile, the wizards enter into the End and discover that they have no way back, and that they are surrounded by dragons at all turns. There they do what they can to survive, and begin a civilization of dragon hunters. In the end, they hunt them down into near extinction, with only one Ender Dragon remaining. Realizing their mistake, they create the main End Island, and create the End Pillars with the End Crystals to protect the last Ender Dragon. They begin to realize the error of their ways, and that they should not have delved so deep into evil magics. But there is no return from what they have become. The Ender Dragons kept the secret of how to return to the overworld from the wizards. And once they ran out of food, they were forced to eat the native chorus fruit, which after hundreds of years in the end turned them into the warped and twisted Endermen. Their minds were still strong, but they had lost their humanity. As now they turned to worshipping and serving the last Ender Dragon, in hopes that she would reveal the way back home someday. But the last dragon never revealed the secret. She instead enslaved the Endermen, and hatches an evil, dastardly plan. She thinks that the builders sent the wizards there. She sees the builders as responsible for her people's downfall. And so, she seeks to make the builders just like the wizards, dark and corrupted Endermen. And so she sends the Endermen into the Nether and the overworld through mysterious means, with the mission to sow evil and chaos and to teach them their magical ways of the past. All the while, they would act as their allies, until it was too late. And they would be trapped in the End too. Well, that was the end of part 1 of the history of Minecraft's world. Let me know if you enjoyed this. I will be making a second part. This part led up is probably fairly different than what most people would think with the history of Minecraft and its lore. But I felt that there wasn't enough backstory for the current backstory. Odd. So I created an entire almost pre-builder era. So the next video will be exactly what you have normally heard from other YouTubers. For the most part, with a few changes that I think are different. Well, see ya!